गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। It's been a long time since I did a live podcast at this time at my regular 8 o'clock slot. And today we're going to talk of Yunarchy in Bangladesh. Why Yunarchy? It's Yunus's anarchy. And that's what I thought I'll put across to you. Uh, it's been a busy week, going here and there. Went to the Bhopal Literature Festival. I've uploaded those videos for all of you to see what we discussed out there. And then, of course, I had to go to Delhi on official work, speak to some officers who had come down from the LAC and interacted with them. And it was a mind blowing experience. Right. So let's get on with what we were supposed to talk of, and we were supposed to talk of Yunarchy in Bangladesh. Is Yunarchy on? Of course it is on. There's no doubt about it. Let's not have any doubts about it. Right. Let me start with what happened a few days back. Sheikh Hasina gave a speech, online speech, and where she said a lot of things. And of course, she also said that Yunus tried to kill her and all that. Now, the interesting thing about the speech is it the beginning? Is it the beginning of a reaction from within? You know, the yeah, Bangladesh is now like a pressure cooker. Is it the reaction from within that the Awami League has started reasserting itself? This is the first. The reaction to this was pretty swift and violent, right? And that's what actually triggered me and set me thinking. Uh, uh, they stormed the house of Prime Minister Hasina and broke it, the bulldozer army as they called it. But what is sad, that's the sad part, and that's what led me to think a bit and reflect a bit and talk of, this subject. Is this picture? This is the house of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, brought down and broken. I mean, the Yunarchists have brought down the house of the architect of Bangladesh. And actually, this represents what Bangladesh is today, a broken house. That's what I thought I'll share with all of you. And then see, okay, what this is all about. Where is Bangladesh itself going? But I wanted to approach it with a little different thought. And I said, let me look into the history of Bangladesh and see what's actually happening there. The history of Bangladesh suggests there were coups, there were assassinations, there were counter coups, there are counter movements. Is some phenomenon like that happening today? To some extent, yes. And what is this phenomenon which is actually happening? And because that will give you an idea as to what's going to come ahead with Bangladesh. So let me, go virtually. I'll go through the history of Bangladesh. It's had a terribly troubled history, a political history. We know how it got birthed, very violent manner. But then when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman took over, he also ruled Bangladesh as a dictator, virtually. And despite whether we like him or not, he had his own agenda, he had his own problems, he had his own issues. He ran it at like a one-party state. And sure enough, the upheavals within Bangladesh ensured that in 1975, he was assassinated in a military coup. Then Khondkar Mushtaq Ahmad, with the help of the army, took over. Right? And then he was overthrown in a coup instigated by the army chief. Khalid Musharraf. And he was, in turn, on November 3rd, he was also assassinated by rival mutineers within the army. So, that's not many people know that. August to November, three coups in a row, tuck, tuck, tuck. And things were in a bad shape. 1977, Ziaur Rahman becomes the president. He, of course, he was the one who instigated the coup. And throughout his tenure, there were deadly coup attempts against him also by rival gangs and from within the Bangladesh army. Finally, in 1981, he was assassinated. Okay. His vice president, Abdul Sattar, took over. He was propped up by H.M. Ershad, Hussein Muhammad Ershad. Now, Abdul Sattar was thrown out 1 year later. Then General Ershad took over and he continued for a long time. Okay, he declared martial law and initiated a lot of economic reforms. Interestingly, in 1988, Islam became a state religion. He introduced it constitutionally. But later on, this Islam as a state religion was taken out. Why I am bringing this is, within about 15-16 years of its independence, Islam and Islamists came back into action. And though constitutionally it was taken out, the Islamists never left Bangladesh. And who are these Islamists? Who are these Islamists? They are all otherwise known as Razakars or the remnants of East Pakistan. So they were always there. Of course, now, if you see it in the context of everything, they have resurfaced. And they have resurfaced in strength. Okay. Now let's go ahead and understand this turbulent history. Because whatever turbulent history is there, why am I going back into the history? It's very simple. Whatever turbulent history is there, it's going to repeat itself. It's going to happen. I mean, it's not going to be an easy affair. It's only 6 months. 81. 82, of course, Ershad suspended the constitution itself. Right? Like I said, 88, Islam becomes a state religion. 1990, protests from within. They wanted democracy in Bangladesh. So Irshad was deposed, put in jail. He was convicted for corruption. So everyone, so far, every one of the rulers has been deposed or put in jail for corruption or assassinated. So why would anything else happen to Sheikh Hasina, or for that matter Khalida Zia, or for that matter Yunus? उसको भी होने वाला है. ये इनका परंपरा है. Okay, now let me get ahead. 1991, Khalida Zia takes over. And then she, after becoming the prime minister, she emasculated the presidency. The president thereafter became only a rubber stamp. Then began this seesaw battle between BNP and, Awami League. So virtually, if you look at it, after 77, 78 till 91, the Bangladesh was completely anti-India. Then BNP was predominantly anti-India. Okay, 96, Awami League comes to power. 2001, Khalida Zia's Bangladesh National Party comes back. Okay. 2007, something very interesting happened. Again, the army came into being. The president got around. He declared emergency because things were going bad. There were anti-government demonstrations. Sheikh Hasina is charged with murder. Khalida Zia is placed under house arrest. And both of them get together and overthrow the government. Both the Begums. At that time, the army and the president, with of course, Islamists, everyone, threw both the political parties out. Okay, 2008 general elections were held. Sheikh Hasina has come back. Okay, she captured nearly 250 out of the 300 seats. It was clean sweep. Oh, in all this, you see, violence has never left Bangladesh. 2009, February, the Bangladesh guards, enter a mutiny. 74, mainly army officers, were killed in this mutiny. It was a bloody mutiny. A lot of issues which came forth. Some people, initially Sheikh Hasina prevaricated. Finally, she was forced to take action. There was lot of discussion, but it happened. Okay. And then in 2013, something else happened. Very interesting. This was protesters, it is called the Shahbag protests. And in those protests were against JEI and Ansarullah Bangla team, which was JEI's student wing. Against them, push them out. So JEI keeps surfacing. Okay. 2013. From 2013 onwards, elections, people say Ashrina rigged, all that fine. Economy did well. Bangladesh became a tiger, South Asian tiger, and Pakistanis used to say, look at Bangladesh. All that came crashing down in COVID. In the period 20 to 22, COVID ruined its economy. Bangladesh had to go back to IMF to get a loan to survive. If you see, this is the period when everything was going, economy was going okay, and Sheikh Hasina was in good power. Generally, people were happy. Politically, people might not be happy, but generally, the countryside was happy. Bangladesh was growing, all that. COVID killed it. The moment that happened, political issues start again. This is a classic case. A poor country where always there were coups, everything happening. They got progress, they got political stability. Good, bad, or ugly, there was economic progress. Everyone was generally happy. These tribulations were swept away, or rather, swept under the carpet. People say all these fellows say that Sheikh Hasina ruled with an iron hand. She was a dictator, and so many people, all that. What are these chaps doing? They're doing the same thing. This country has had this problem. It's never accepted democracy. It's never accepted dictatorship. It's never accepted any form of normal governance. Except for this period, 2009 to about 2020, when they were progressing. And 2024, onward June, protests start. Why did they start? Because the Bangladeshi Supreme Court reinstated the 30% government job quota, which was taken away by whom? By Hasina, Sheikh Hasina. So you see this ups and downs of, turbulence. I would say periods of turbulence on one form or the other, except for the 10-year period which I said, 2008 to 2020, 10-12-year period, when Bangladesh progressed economically, everything. A poor country with a lot of political strains, never stabilized into democracy, a lot of bloodshed, a lot of mutinies, a lot of coups, a lot of assassinations. I've given you the whole thing. Why would it be different now? It's not. That's the thing. Okay. So if you see this had to happen. This well-planned coup had to happen. Oh, everyone says this is a revolution. This is not a revolution. This what happened in Bangladesh now. I step back and you examine it. It's not a revolution by any stretch of imagination. It's a proper, well-planned coup. Okay, and Yunus, the architect of this Yunarchy, he goes to USA, takes these fellows who planned, and said, you know, here are these students who are the brain behind this entire ouster. And such an event couldn't have happened, spontaneously. It is a well planned event. And this picture is important, which I'll now show you. Yeah, this picture with Clinton and all. So he's presented the brain to the Clinton and gang. Right? So he reported back to the people who instigated this anarchy, who instigated this coup. Right? And he very clearly says Mahfouz Alam, as the intellectual architect of the coup. And this man is a special assistant to Yunus, equivalent that to a secretary of the state. He's put out a Facebook post, Alam, on 16 December 24, very recently. See his orient thinking. He says the cultures of Northeast India and Bangladesh share a common heritage and history. Okay. But it has been marginalized by Hindu extremists and anti-Bengal sentiment of upper caste Hindus. He's accused India of implementing a strategy of control and colonization over these areas. Alam has proclaimed, to achieve genuine freedom from India, we must replicate the events of 75 and 24. What is 75? Killing Mujibur Rahman. Assassination of Mujibur Rahman. Okay? 2024 is the current situation. So he's given out. He's actually done all this. Okay. Okay. Now, Clinton, through this man, who was he? He was the ambassador to Bangladesh. And Peter Haas. He does everything, goes back to USA and comes back as the CEO of a energy company, where now he's a strategic advisor. He's a strategic advisor to Bangladesh. So Clinton administration, Yunus, Peter Haas, all linked. And someone says it's a well-planned coup. Completely. So, let's have no doubts. It's a proper coup. And then, of course, now follow up George Soros, who's the original Soros son. This chap's name is Alex Soros, I think. He comes. He says, I'll fund Bangladesh. Why is he funding Bangladesh? And where is he funding it from? USAID. The link between USAID and Bangladesh now starts coming to picture. So USAID funds through the embassy coup staged. If you see 2 months or 3 months before the coup, their specialists, Donald Lu and that lady, they come, discuss, and then all this starts. I think somewhere in June, July last year, both of them came. So there's a very clear thing that it was a well organized coup. Now Alex Soros surfaces back. So all the money which has gone in through USAID, he has to scupper back. And that fellow, the ambassador now is in charge of a private firm to exploit Bangladesh. He'll sell gas to Bangladesh and make money back, and the money goes back. All this is facilitated by whom? Professor Yunus. The more you examine this, there's no movement underneath. This is a very well planned coup by Professor Yunus. Let's be very clear. I'm not making any. And then now reports are that there's something against the army chief. Why? The army chief is not playing ball completely. There are also reports that look, the army chief and the army are the ones who have actually done this whole thing. So it's murky. But Yunus' hand is very clear. What is the whole story? Power grab, anti India, throw India out, grab power, no democracy. That's the history, isn't it? Right? Yeah. So I didn't show you that. Let me show you that. Yeah. So there's the coup against the Bangladesh army chief is in the air. Okay. Then of course the question mark is, will Awami League be able to resurrect itself? And that's on the cards now with Sheikh Hasina talk. So the story is not finished in Bangladesh. But what will happen? More bloodshed. That's going to, the armed Bangladeshi is going to suffer. But that's their history. Now let's look at the legality or the illegality of this government. I mean, there's something which I have not spoken. Yeah. As per Article 123 3B, it stipulates, of their constitution stipulates, that if the parliament is dissolved for any other reason before the end of its term, general elections must be held within 90 days after such a dissolution. So the prime minister has gone. So within 90 days, the election should have been held. And moreover, Article 58(4) and 57(3) of the Constitution provide that the prime minister and existing ministers continue to hold office until his or her successor has entered upon office. So, okay, if Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had left, but her others were there, and their existing ministers should have continued to hold office. No, they were driven out. It's not revolution. They were just driven out. Some were killed, whatever. If he or she resigns or ceases to hold office, that's the stipulation. However, there are no provisions that regulate the formation and running of an interim or caretaker government. So this entire program is at this point of time illegal. And what does this illegal government do? It sets up commissions to reform the whole system. And first of they start now. Yunus has started accepting the reform reports. Okay, one of the reform reports says eliminate the It proposes elimination of the principles of secularism, socialism, and nationalism, which is part of the preamble and part two of the constitution. So they are now trying to put in a new constitution. An illegal government trying to put a new constitution. And no constitution is valid till such time there's a house in session. That's the basic of any democracy. So Mr. Yunus, who calls himself the special advisor or whatever he is actually a dictator. He is the one who's engineered the coup. You see this whole story as it's coming out. It is not some students' movement which has come up. It is a students' movement which is instigated from outside. And then he has a marked tilt to Pakistan and China. That also is recorded now. So what all reports are there? But these two gentlemen, they want to change the geopolitics of South Asia. That's okay. Okay. So what all has he done? Yunus, he's not made any effort to improve relations with India. Zero. On the other hand, he's empowered radical forces to rise. And also anti-Hindu violence unabated. He makes some statements, anodyne statements. Yesterday also, I think he's made some anodyne statements. Don't, demolish houses and all that after the event. He comes out very, very tactically with the anodyne statement after the event is over. He's worked hard to improve relations with Pakistan. That's something which you should understand. He's met Shahbaz Sharif twice. He's not met Mr. Modi even once. Cultural exchanges are flourishing. Cargo ships have come from Pakistan to Bangladesh. This is the first time it has arrived from 71 war. What these chaps have restarted. Bilateral trade in the past 6 months has improved or increased between Pakistan and Bangladesh by 27%. And visa restrictions have been relaxed. Today, from Bangladesh to Pakistan and vice versa, there's no problem of visas. And then, what about the relationship between the armed forces? There's a delegation left by a Lieutenant General of Bangladesh goes to Pakistan, discusses everything. And they say, please give us J-17s. Immediately after this revolution, Bangladesh went around buying 40,000 rounds of 155 mm shells. Last year, August, September. Then we know Pakistan ISI team came. And now Bangladesh is taking part in the 16 nation naval exercises, which has started off today or tomorrow. It is to start off in Pakistan. So Pakistan has been holding these exercises with the help of China. I don't know which are the 60 nations which are there, but Bangladesh is one of them. Okay. And ever since Yunus has come, so he says, get that SARC going. What is the missing element in all arrangements here, or all conferences, or all organizations in this part of the world? Missing element has been Pakistan. So SARC means Pakistan. So he wants, there's a very clear drift with Yunus to Pakistan. This is not a Pakistan friendly government. This is a government installed by Pakistan. And this is something which I've been telling right from beginning. This government has undertaken a coup against Sheikh Hasina, or rather backed by those elements in USA and ISI. And ISI has played a midwife in all this. And today, ISI is playing a midwife to ensure that Bangladesh shrinks towards US, China. Because ISI knows the US mentality. After some time, US will lose interest in Bangladesh and they'll quit. So that vacuum has to be taken over by China. You will see pictures of Yunus meeting almost everyone except any Indian. So it's a very clear picture which is emerging now. And then they come out with articles like this. Oh, Bangladesh is a major foreign policy problem for India. India cannot survive without Bangladesh, and things like that. They come out with these. They come out with articles which I done a video on, where they paint, Bangladesh is central to South Asian geopolitics. They want electricity from Nepal and Bhutan. They want to conclude a deal without India. I mean, that's the kind of a vacuum they are living in. Now, what is the net result when you say Yunarchy? What is the net result on ground? Where is Bangladesh? And that is something which we need to understand. Look at this. Law and order is top. Why? Policemen have taken to the streets. A lot of policemen are not back on uh, on duty. The Bangladesh Army, Navy, and Air Force are doing policing, and they've been given magisterial powers. So it's the army which is running the country. There are nationwide strikes, rail strike. If rail is this thing, not only people have not been able to move, goods also don't move. Then there's tanker strikes. If tanker strikes are there, there's no fuel. I mean, these are happening regularly. And then there are fights between one college and the other, and one set of students and the other. So, a lot of bans on student leagues. Now, these bans, if you see in their history, which I showed, their political parties were banned, everything was banned, everyone came back. So, all these bans beyond a point have no value. But there is Yunarchy, there's anarchy settling in Bangladesh. We all have discussed their garment industry, which is their main earner, is gone. It's all shifted out. Vandalism, arson. Oh, incidentally, this is not Mujib's house. It's something else. And look, I am showing you all not international news. I'm showing you Bangladesh news. All this is reported by them, not me. This is not something I have made up. Please understand this. I am not. There's no hearsay. कि यार ये जनरल साहब जो मर्जी बोल रहा है. He is only highlighting, showing a mirror to Bangladeshis where they are, how this coup went about, what is their history, what is the status. And it is only going from bad to worse. They want rule of law. How will there be rule of law when the policeman is not there? No, they feel Awami League is out. Okay. They're banned, whatever they're doing. Now, BNP is also, they want out. So that means the two main political parties which make up Bangladesh will not be there in any elections. By the time the elections come, they want all these fellows washed off. That's the thing. Then there are muggers. So violence at night. All these are arson, violence, no police, student clashes. Bureaucrats are on their own. Why are bureaucrats on their own? They're not doing any work. Because they worry tomorrow if something they write and give some decision, they might be taken to the court and this thing. So they would be, I mean, logical. And they would also be completely politicized. Lawyers and journalists fighting with each other. This is the reality today in Yunarchy. Now, this is something very, very concerning. Okay? They have put restrictions on women's recreation. The Bangladesh women's football team, I think some problem happened. Shades of Afghanistan. Islamization. So slowly the status of the Bangladeshi woman is being degraded. So all this is their reporting, like I said. Daylight muggings in Mohammadpur, suburb of Dhaka. All this is. So if you put this picture all together, Islamization is rising, anarchy is otherwise on, people are suffering. I've not spoken of economy and all that. That's a different story. But we'll spoke of that. A major component of their economy is now missing. USAID. Okay, he's suspended. Should we panic? It's not a matter of should they panic. They're already in panic. Okay. Development aid is gone. So what next? They're nothing. The businesses are tough. Aid is tough. Their foreign forex reserves have gone down compared to what it was when before Sheikh Hasina was taken out to now. The forex have gone down by about $5 billion. Compared to their forex before COVID and now, it's come down to 50% forex reserves. So if you see slowly, the path is going down and down and down. There's a problem now. It's going to happen. No power. They fought with everyone. Now they want to go back to Adani. Adani will coolly jack up all his prices. Look, it's very simple. For a businessman like Adani, he doesn't give it to Bangladesh, he'll give it to someone else. The Indian state is, wants more power. India, we are power deficient overall. So he'll take it and give it to someone else. And he'll say, okay, I'll lose whatever. What happens to Bangladesh people? They know the reality. I'm sure someone will say, oh, we don't have power cuts. 1 hour, 2 hours. The reality could be far different, and people who in Bangladesh know where they are. And then they have to import rice, diesel, fertilizer, everything. Where will it come from? Who will give it to them? India. Otherwise, they can pay through their nose, go to Malaysia, Vietnam, or anywhere else, or Pakistan. So this is the actual state of their economy. The number of economic units has gone down, and with capital shortages. So you find that the economy has taken a hit, law and order has taken a hit, daily services have taken a hit, Islamization has gone up, women's freedoms are coming down, and the government is illegal and extra constitutional. Because Arakan army is active. You forget about trade. Look at the security situation with the Myanmar border. So overall, when you see we have a troubled neighbor, and my guess is there's a silent mass. That mass will erupt, you know, spontaneously against these people as we go along, and that's their history. And this whole story is a planned takeover by a combination of USA, and JEI. It was facilitated by ISI, which I told you earlier. And China's entry has been enabled by these Pakistanis, knowing well that US will lose interest. The question for us is Bangladesh now at par with Pakistan? Or even worse, what should be our response? Right? And that is the $1,000,000 question. I mean, I look at it this way. I think there are our responses have to be at multiple levels. I've always felt the first response has to be around Bangladesh, tighten the border, and ensure minimum immigration from there. Minimum immigration. I think that the government is already doing. Stop the smuggling. I think even that would have been achieved. And start monitoring the internal situation in Bangladesh. You'll see as days go by, coup, counter coup, revolution, counter revolution are part of Bangladesh story. It will happen. Stability will not be achieved. I mean, there is no way that stability of this government or Bangladesh will be achieved by this government. And they have to come back to India for everything, and which I don't think we should be in a hurry to respond. Just tighten the whole story, monitor what Pakistan is doing, monitor what China is doing. And China also won't come out in a hurry. China will not stretch out to Bangladesh in a hurry because China, despite deep seek and all that nonsense, is in its own problems. And they don't know which way to jump because of Trump. And our Prime Minister is to meet Mr. Trump on 13th next week. Something will come out of it. That will tell us which way to handle Bangladesh. My guess is already our External Affairs Minister and their State Department State Secretary, Mr. Marco Rubio, they've had a word on Bangladesh. And when Mr. Modi goes there, this will resolve. There will be a common strategy between USA and India how to handle Bangladesh. In that, I don't think China will come forward. And China also knows it will not put money in Bangladesh. Why? Because whatever debt it has already with Bangladesh, that itself will not be cleared. Bangladesh doesn't have the capacity. And what about Pakistan? Pakistan itself is struck by lack of aid. You read Pakistan newspapers, they're also down in the dumps. So all this we need to see. And we need to understand that we are against the current regime in Bangladesh because it's an illegal regime. If it had been elected by the people, well, accept it completely. We'll deal with this regime, but not accept it. We have not recognized. We said we'll deal with this regime. We'll accept the fact that this regime is there. And you'll see slowly this Yunarchy going up. When this Yunarchy comes to a level where things can't be handled, you'll see things happening. So this is what I thought I'll put across to all of you. That look, this entire episode of the past 6-7 months in Bangladesh is not a one-off phenomenon. It was not something which happened overnight. It was not spontaneous. It was well planned by the Islamists, whoever they are. It was well planned by Yunus. We should be clear that with Yunus, India is not going to have peace or any kind of dialogue because he's avoided speaking to India. Like I said, except giving some anodyne statements. So, interesting times. And now I'll take on questions. Okay, right. Uh, Having a little bit of a problem to show the thing. Yeah, it's not coming up. All these for some reason. Yeah, Yunarchy. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Okay, as a secular Bangladeshi Muslim, I urge the Modi government to act firmly against radicals in Bangladesh. These extremists are destroying my country and pose a strong, growing threat to India. I'm sure the government will act in its own time. It's a matter of time. Maybe another month or so, you'll find a clear joint strategy between USA and India coming through. I'm very clear of that. Okay. Yeah. Sir, government launched Operation Devil's Hunt to eliminate Awami League. Right now it is on. How many can you eliminate? That's the point. Like what he says, Devil Hunt will backfire. Awami League will uh, come out stronger from this. You see, you can uh, Awami League, which was the biggest party which ruled this country for so many years, could not eliminate JEI or the Jamaat Islami or the radicalism. Right? One we could take out Bangladesh from Pakistan, but we couldn't take out Pakistan from Bangladesh in the form of JEI. So this will not happen, and like what he rightly said, it will backfire. Yeah. So Operation Devil Hunt, which is in a way similar to Operation Searchlight, has begun in Bangladesh. Please share some thoughts on that. Yeah, it will happen. We'll come to know. Like that's why I said all this. I shown all this. What's happening, right? So it's a matter of two, three things happening simultaneously from here on. You'll see the economy going down. You'll see anarchy settling in, and you'll see targeted killings and all that coming out. We'll see how this moves because it's early days for this devil's hunt to show its hand fully. Yeah, while the ill treatment of the Hindus and minority community may be emotive, no one stopped them from coming to Bharat. Present Bangladesh is a threat to Bharat. Your views? I think so. It's a threat in some manner, and it's not a threat in many manners. What can Bangladesh do except, you know, destabilize that area, which we should take care of. We should ensure that that doesn't happen. That's why I said, what should we do? We should ensure that that area doesn't get destabilized, and for that you need to, you know, your border vigilance has to increase, your intelligence has to increase in that area, local security has to increase. Yeah, Islamists in Bangladesh, Pakistan, along with certain elements within our colonial remnants who oppose Mother India and its rich. I completely agree with you. Peaceful secular culture, USA, UK, and Canada love radicals. I completely agree with you, but we have to deal with the situation because that's what they are. And yeah, Sahil Noor says India and Awami League were happy, not everyone happy. Fine. Go in for change of government, no problems. Hold elections. make it democratic. That's not happening. You want to change the constitution and then impose it on others and then say, I'll hold elections. By then, I'll rig the elections, I'll get back to power, all that. Like I said, the architect of this whole story is now very clear. This Yunus. That's why I said Yunarchy. Yeah, he says, please take care of your country. Indians are in chain. That's a laughing stock, okay? So, yeah, and learn from Karan Thapar what true journalism is. Karan Thapar exists in India because we are completely secular and democratic. Otherwise, he'll be thrown out. In your country, he would have been killed. We allow people like Karan Thapar to exist because everyone has to have a word and say. We don't stop them. Those people who are pro-India want democracy against this interim government. We should bring them at limelight in the world stage. Your views, I agree with you, Amitesh. That's what I'm doing. So if you agree with what I'm saying, please spread this video to everyone. Let everyone see what's the reality within Bangladesh. Yeah, do you have an UPI ID to receive payments directly? Yes, I've got given it in the description. Every description there's a UPI ID. You do the payment to that, right? Uh, that's how it is. It's as simple as that. Yeah, US aid now defunct and impact might be observed in Bangladesh, Ukraine, and Palestine. Yeah, I agree with you. Let's forget about Ukraine and Palestine. Bangladesh, it's going to be observed very badly. You'll see the effects very soon. Very soon. Okay. Okay. The Retired Armed Forces Club in Bangladesh, led by Colonel Haq, we call him Harami Haq, is suspected of being influenced by Pak ISI. Such agents threaten India and Bangladesh. Yeah, it's possible. I told you, ISI is had a big hand in this whole story, and we're going to deal with them as they go along. Don't worry. It's not as if we don't know how to deal with it. If his Yunus is backed by the deep state of US and Yunus is tilting towards Pakistan and China, then we can conclude that the objective of the deep state is malicious towards India. Yeah, completely. This is part of the story how to keep India in check and under the thumb. But now I think a lot of that will change. Let's see how much it changes. Do you expect Bangladesh needs India's permission to make relations with Pakistan or any other country? Stupid hegemonic thinking. Hasina was slave to India. Yeah, the hai radical or and I have no problem. You make any relations with whomever you want, but please remember what your own past is. Okay, your own past. What you have not done from 71, you are now doing again, and they are the ones who murdered people. And how many people did they murder? Something like 30 lakh. I mean, they are our forefathers who have been murdered. Yeah, Indian anchors are first class. Indian media make false propaganda against. No, there's no false propaganda at all. There's the truth. I'm showing you all details which I've shown you today are from your newspapers. It's not from Indian newspapers. Everything is from your media. Yeah, how can Bangladesh be so deluded with their own hubris that US quietly manipulated them into settling fire to their own country and also inserted its own puppet Yunus as a leader without consent? Look, it's not a puppet. It is Yunus who's done this whole story. That's what I feel from what I can analyze. It is Yunus who has used George Soros, USAID, the Clinton Foundation, and all that. And he's prepared for this from a long time and executed it. The others have just fallen in place because once upon a time Yunus has helped them for everything. This is a well planned move. I'm sure Yunus has been in touch with ISI even before this, right? So this is how it is. Yeah, last 16 years there was Awami League in power. They did 3 elections. Every time they won, got majority seats uh, par- in parliament. Okay, do you think these elections were neutral? It's not my take whether they were neutral or not. That's your take. If they were not neutral, you had a revolution. I'm okay with it. But have elections. Have elections. Why are you not having elections? That's the point. Why is this government in the seven? It doesn't want to have elections. First wants to have a new constitution and then have elections, and that constitution will be completely against the character of Bangladesh, which has existed for so long. Okay, I am not. I'm not for one moment saying that whatever has happened in Bangladesh under Sheikh Hasina is absolutely above board. That is for you to decide. But if you have to do anything which is against India's interest, I will start deciding. Okay, I feel this is China hand doing everything to provoke. I don't think so completely, Anjali. This is not China hand. It is completely masterminded by this Islamists. Okay, so I think that's about all for today. All your questions have been answered. Yeah, right. And yeah. Let me answer. Why don't you have any problem with Middle East no election? Why we don't have a problem is that's already a monarchy. Saudi is a kingdom. You're not a kingdom. You wanted democracy. Your constitution says democracy. So go by the democracy, go by your constitution. Okay? Yeah. Bangladeshi want to see Bangladesh as a power in South Asia. Would India love to see Bangladesh in that position? Yeah, I'd love to see. Only thing is, how will you see it? If you want to be a power, you have to behave like a power. Abhi to you are behaving like a human. You don't have any power left. Who will bother about you? Where is your economy? We were helping you grow your economy so that you become, you know. In fact, our prime minister held your hand or the hand of your country, but you didn't take it. Okay. So your problem is something else. Your problem is completely internal, and in that internal, Mr. Yunus has taken complete, advantage of the situation, and he wants to bring in a rule which is completely different from what it was in the past 40, 50 years. So all the best to you internally. But my interest is, why do I do all this? You are our neighbor, a troublesome neighbor, where you had cases of famine, where you had cases of flood, where you had cases of uh, deaths, where you had cases of brutalization, coups, assassination, and everything. And any upheaval in Bangladesh has an effect on us in the surrounding areas. We have to take care. And that is why we keep a pulse on Bangladesh. Internally, we are not even interested in what you do. But you try anything funny with India, you will get the reply. Don't worry. That's why attack from Maratha, Delhi, Arakan happened. This is all old story. Okay, this is of some age. You're living in a dream. If you think you have something great out there, there's nothing. Okay, all the help that India did is not recognized. How long has this Paki attitude being on and grown in your opinion, sir? I think it's never left. There's a element within Bangladesh who are always wishing for Pakistan to come back, and they were the ones who wanted to regain power completely. So that feeling has never left Bangladesh. It is now reinforced. That's about all. Okay, they have marginalized the silent masses, and they want to grab power. And this fellow wants to grab power, and that's nothing more than that. Yeah, I think he's made a very nice comment, Gautam. You're talking of Indian hegemony, I'm talking of Indian security. We can't have a hostile and unstable neighbor, as events there will have ramifications. I completely agree with you. And that's why I keep doing this regularly. Yeah. What's news on St. Martin's Island? Is it with USA or China or still with Bangladesh? No, at this point of time, it's still with Bangladesh. Of course, there are local problems, but no one else has taken over it. It's not going to happen so easily. Don't worry. Okay, I think we've come to the end of our talk on Bangladesh. Thanks to everyone for coming and participating in this discussion. If you like this video, uh, press the like button and also subscribe to Gunner Shot. Consider becoming a member of Gunner Shot. Like I said, it's for a good cause. And circulate this video to all around. Tomorrow we're going to talk of Trump and what's there in Trump 2.0 for India and how do we go about our future with USA. As interesting events are happening in USA, we need to take care of all of them. Thank you. Good evening and Jai Hind to all of you.